Hello, Algebra 1 students, and welcome to the 4-5 video notes covering systems of linear inequalities. This is the end of our topic 4. So last lesson we talked about graphing systems of linear equations, finding that point of intersection. Now we're going to do systems of linear inequalities. And let's remember, right, that when we talk about inequalities, when we talk about, I could get my there we go. When we talk about inequalities, right, we have two differences between graphing inequalities and graphing equations. And so let's write down those two differences right here. Number one, type of line. Remember, your line can be solid or it could be dashed. So keep that in mind depending on the inequality symbol, right? So that's the first difference. The second major difference is you have the shading, right? And remember, we do above or we do below. And again, you're going to see that when we do these systems of inequalities, the shading is going to be where they overlap. So this is a big idea, right? We're going to look for where the shading overlaps. We're going to do a lot on Desmos, and Desmos will have two colors. And again, you just have to identify where that shading, where those two colors overlap at. Okay. So the first problem we're going to do is by hand, right? And then we'll use Desmos the rest of the way, just like we did in lesson 4.1. Okay. So first one, we're going to graph the system of inequalities. Okay, so our first inequality, y is greater than x minus 2. So let's start with that one. I'm going to do that one in red. Okay, so this would be my red one. So when you graph, first thing you do is you start with the b. If you need to, write down here, y equals mx plus b. Again, we'll talk about the inequality symbol in a little bit. But let's start with the mx plus b part. First, our b value is a negative 2. So that means we go down 2, 1, 2. Okay, there's my y-intercept. And then we're going to count our slope. Now your slope is the number in front of x. Now there's no number here, so our slope is a 1. Now if we make that into a fraction, that's 1 over 1, which means we go up 1 and right 1. And I'll do that a couple times. Up 1, right 1. Up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. I'll also go down 1, left 1, down 1, left 1, down 1, left 1. Okay, so there's a bunch of points that I'm going to connect. Now, do you see this greater than symbol? So a couple things that greater than symbol means. Number one, it means my line is dashed because it's not equal to, if you remember. So I'm going to make a dashed line. What this means is points on that line do not count as solutions. Okay, and then this is a greater than. Greater than means you're going to shade above. Now here's what I do when it comes to shading in these systems. I don't shade right away first. I kind of do like this arrow thing that I'm going to show you right now. So what I do is I go to the end of my line, and greater than means above. So I'm going to draw an arrow up here and an arrow up here. So I know that the shading is going to be on this side of the line. I'll put a star right over here. So now when I draw the second line and talk about its shading, what we're going to do is we're going to create 4 regions. Only one of those 4 regions gets shaded, and it has to be a region up in this space here in the top left corner. And you'll see as we do the second one. Okay, let's do the second one in blue here. So I'll put a star here in blue. So again, our b value is positive 1. So I'm going to go up 1 and put a dot. Okay, and now our slope this time, well, there's a negative in front of that x, so make that a negative 1. So your slope is negative 1 over 1, which means we're going to go down 1 and right 1. Down 1, right 1. Down 1, right 1. Down 1, right 1. Now, these lines are going to cross. I don't care where they necessarily cross. It's not solving systems of equations. So notice that they don't cross at a nice point. I don't care. I don't care. Okay, and then we're going to go up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1. Okay, and now we take a look at this inequality symbol. That's a less than or equal to. Equal to means solid. So I'm going to make a solid line as best I can through those points. Okay, and now do you see the 4 regions I've created, right? From the red graph, we have to shade up here towards the red. So then our final answer, and I'll make this a little bit farther so it really cuts off the plane. So our final answer either is going to be the shaded region here or the shaded region here, right? On the top side of the red, but it's on one of those sides of the blue. Now, if you look at the inequality symbol, that's a less than. That means below. So we're going to go below the blue, which would be this way, below the blue. So I'm going to go towards this star. So not this star, this star. And it's going to be right in here from the blue to where it intersects the red and above the red. This right here, this space, and I probably should have done it in purple, right? This space right here is the solution space, okay? So again, when we're looking for the solution, a lot of times it's called a solution space, the overlapping shaded region. And again, it just satisfies both inequalities. So remember, when you have an answer to a system of linear inequalities, there are many answers. There are many answers. So for this inequality, the solutions actually also count on this blue line all the way, but not including. That point of intersection is not a solution, not, because it's not solid. So it doesn't work in both inequalities. Okay? So for this solution set, it's all the points in this shaded region and all the points, I'll trace it in purple, on this part of the solid line that are connected to the space. Great. Okay, so that was our by hand example. So now let's jump right into Desmos and let it do some of the work for us, right? Okay. Next, okay, what are the solutions to this system of linear inequalities? So I have them written down. So I'm going to go ahead and use Desmos to graph these for us. Now I'm actually going to have you change one of the inequalities. So we're going to change the second one. Okay, so please make this change. Let's change the second one, and we're going to make it a positive 1/2. So I will do it right here. So we're going to change this inequality to positive 1/2 x minus 2. We'll leave the y as less than. That'll all stay the same. Okay. All right, so let's use Desmos again to plug this in, and I'll show you how to use Desmos to do that. Okay, so the first inequality stayed the same. Now, remember, when you're on Desmos, right, zoom out one time, so we're in terms of 5s and 10s. Okay, so we're going to do y. To get the inequality symbols, click on the keyboard down below. They're right here, my little tool, sorry, my tools are in the way. So you have the greater than and equal to's here, right? So I need the greater than or equal to. Okay, and then I'm going to type in negative x plus 2. All right, so it does it for me, right? Now I'm going to write down these 2 points. So 0, 2, and 2, 0. So over here, again, my writing's going to be a little bit big maybe. So 0, 2, and 2, 0. So when I get back, I'm going to graph that. And notice that the line is solid, and I'm shaded above. So it's a solid line, and it's shaded above. That's important. Okay. Okay, and now I'll graph the second one. And again, I changed it, so please make sure you change it, right? Y is, now the less than is right here. You could also use your keyboard for the less than. 1/2 x minus 2. Okay, and if I take a look here, click on the blue, 0, negative 2, and 4, 0. So I'm going to use for my blue, 0, negative 2, and 4, 0. Sorry, 4, 0. And notice the type of line you're using here. Now we're using a dashed line. So this is a dashed line, and we're shading below. So notice the overlapping region here in purple is on the right-hand side. So if you want to write that down too, so my solution space is on the right side. Okay, so I'm going to go back into our notes, and I'm going to copy this graph down. Okay, so if I take a look here, all right, so again, for my first inequality, let me get the proper weight of my writing. Give me a second. Okay, good. Okay, so for my first one in red here, my 2 points were 0, 2, and 2, 0. The line was solid, And again, do your best to go all the way across the, and my shading was above, so it was up here. For my second one, I'll do it in blue. Remember that I changed it to 1/2 x minus 2. So my 2 points were 0, -2, and 4, 0. This was a dashed line, and my shading was below. So notice that the spot above the red but below the blue is this space to the right, which I said is where the solutions are going to be. So there's your solution space. And again, remember, it can be any point on this solid red line touching the solution space, but it cannot be the point of intersection, not because they're not both equal to. They're not both solid lines. Okay, great. Okay, last one here on this video. You know what? Stop. I'm going to stop this video. We're going to do the next two on the next video. All right, so keep watching.